Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Is that somebody in the bathroom? What are they doing awake? It's still in the morning right now. So about that, I was gonna make a last video for the year, but I just realized like 20 minutes ago that if I wait for tonight, since it's 2 in the morning, today is the last day of the year. So if I wait for tonight, I would basically be making the first video for the next year. And then I would be like all wrong about the last video of the year. Did you hear that? There's somebody walking around. I wonder if they're gonna come to my door and like be like, I can't hear it anymore. Anyways, I have some books here. As you know, we are literary nerds. We are literally literary nerds in this channel. That was so corny and stupid. But yeah, these are the reads for December. These are all the books I read for December. And then back there, I have a short book haul that I got myself for Christmas. I also bought some headphones, but I bought them online, and they're supposed to arrive a day after my birthday, which is a little annoying because now it's basically my birthday present for me. But anyways, let's go into these, and then we'll check the new books out. I'll tell you a little bit about them, what you should expect, and all that good stuff with these. So, first up we have Cormac McCarthy, Blood Meridian. There's a lot I can say about this one. First of all, if you're not familiar with Cormac McCarthy, you might want to read another one before you read this one, because this one, I haven't read all of his novels, but I would wager that this is probably going to be the hardest. So, McCarthy has this thing where he basically describes everything around as he is walking us through the desert, and he can get very poetic with it. And while it's very nice and it is very it's very interesting prose, McCarthy does not give a single fuck about grammar. So for him, comma, I think he has personal beef with commas. He just does not like them. He does not use them. And run-on sentences. Jesus, H, Christ in a cradle. Run-on sentences is a real thing with this guy, honestly. So no commas, run-on sentences, and sometimes he pretty much gets lost in the poetry of describing certain places. Because of that, sometimes things happen and they happen a little quick, so you have to go back and try to see if you understood what he said, which can be a little annoying at first, but as you keep reading, you follow his rhythm and you can read it pretty easily. But yeah, I can't discuss much about the book in itself and the story, because if I do, I'm pretty much gonna ruin it. But based on some real events in a real gang, so that was actually a pretty interesting piece of information that I learned after I finished it, and a little scary, if I'm quite honest, because if you have read this and you know about Judge Holden, yep, I know what you're thinking. Yep. There is a possibility that this overgrown weirdo baby giant man was actually real. Next up we have Tell Me How It Ends by Valeria Luis. Oh my god. Valeria Luiselli. Sorry, I have a stutter, and you're just gonna have to put up with it. So, Tell Me How It Ends. It's a very short essay, 100 pages, and she basically explores the inner workings of the immigration system and how it treats refugee children and other refugees. This one is very eye-opening if you don't know about the entire system, which is really stupid. Like, you hear a lot of these conservatives saying that the United States has some of the most lenient immigration laws. That is absolutely bullshit. And whenever they come up and they start complaining about all the pro-life stuff and saying that they want to protect the children and everything, yeah, that's unless they are from another country. Because when it comes to discussion of immigration, they're all about closing borders and being super strict with them. Which is a problem, because those things increase human trafficking, for example, amongst other things, smuggling, and a bunch of other things that would probably be solved if we just didn't treat people like that anymore. So this one is very it has some very interesting insights, because Valeria Luiselli worked with these children. She would listen to their stories and then she would translate it so that she could give the story to a lawyer, so the lawyer could make a case for those children so that they couldn't get refugee status here. A refugee status, by the way, that the current administration has been violating. So I don't mean to get like all political and everything, but it is important that people know and that people look into it, and then people are aware this administration is violating those refugees. They're violating their rights, and they're violating the already established decision that they can be here. So that's a problem. If you are a person who leans right in this issue, that's fine. Nobody cares, and don't start an argument in the comments, because I will come back and I will respond. And well, let's just say that I don't really leave things at just random opinions. There's work to be done, and I have done that work. And if you would like it, if you want to try me, bro, try me, bro, try me, come at me, bro, come at me. So here I am. I'm supposed to like help you relax and sleep, and I'm over here like, fight me, motherfuckers. That is so not the attitude to like try to help people relax. Sorry, it's just a very political book, so I had to get a little political with it. If you're right wing, I love you, and I hope that this relaxes you and that you sleep well. But really, you should rethink your positions. Okay. Anyways, speaking of politics, next up is James Baldwin, The Fire Next Time. I'm just speechless, because I just love it. I absolutely loved it. I love James Baldwin's writing so much. His prose, the way that he formulates his thoughts, the way that he expresses them, and the way that he gets personal with it. So this essay is not an essay, say, for example, Tell Me How It Ends over here. This one is also very emotional, very personal, but at the same time, it's very matter of fact, and it gets to the facts and all that. Not to say that James Baldwin doesn't, but he presents them from his own position and his own insights, which this tiny little book, you get so much material, and you get so many different emotions and thoughts. It's absolutely amazing. Sorry, I had to mute it for a little bit and I had to cough. But yes, James Baldwin, The Fire Next Time, and the conclusion that he comes to and how he basically ends this is absolutely beautiful. This is a must read. If you are watching this, stop and then go buy a copy of this, read it, and then come back. It's the only one that I'm gonna recommend that much. This one is, please read it, and then get some other of his books, and then read them too, because 10 out of 10 would recommend. Anyways, let's keep going. Next up, oh goodness gracious. Yep. I I hate this book. It's a very interesting book, to say the least. Not because of the theme or what happens in it or what it's supposed to be about. And if you're familiar with it, you know. But Nabokov wanted to do something very interesting with this novel, right? So he wanted to use this beautiful prose of romance and flip it on its head and use it for something dark and messed up and disturbing and brothers disturbing. It is. This is a tough read. It is a very tough read. It gets, oh my god, just absolutely disgusting. I fucking hate the main character in this novel. I hate him. And let me tell you, if you ever find anyone that says some dumb shit, like what J.K. Rowling said, like no hate to her, but like, honey, are you serious? A great tragic romance. Bitch, call the police. Call the police. If anyone ever tells you that this is so beautifully written that you can feel for the main character, stop what you're doing and call the police. This one was just fucked up. I feel like I read something else after that one that was a little lighter. And, am I missing something here? I think I might be missing something. Give me a... Oh, no. That's because I finished Lolita and then I read James Baldwin. Yeah. That's why. James Baldwin cured the damage done by Nabokov. Now, I will say though, however, the prose in that book is fucking exquisite, which makes it that much more disturbing and interesting. It's very conflicting to read something so enjoyable to read to the prose, but at the same time so difficult and so disgusting because of what it is about. So it's a contrast that makes the whole book an absolute challenge to read. And the book in itself, I think I would honestly tell parents specifically they need to read that, because it also explores abuse and the way that these people think. Not in a way that, like you know how they think, but he studied basically cases of those kinds of abuses, and he basically shows that a lot of these times he's not some creepy weirdo in a van kidnapping children. Sometimes it's somebody you trust, somebody that the kid trusts, and that piece of shit violates that trust by doing these horrible things. It also goes into a little bit of I don't think he did it on purpose, but there is in there a point to be made about the is disgusting and just nope. Let's not do that one. Although it is an important book. I would say that it is an important novel that people should read, especially if you're a parent, because parents need to be aware also of these situations. And it also a little bit touches on parent neglect, basically. So, sorry, didn't mean to get hung up on that one. Let's move on to my second favorite read of this month, Crime and Punishment. This is a fantastic novel. It is 500 pages. I think it's close to 600, if I'm not mistaken. 579, I think it was. Hold on, I can. Maybe you like the sound of pages. Oh boy, if that doesn't relax you, it actually. Oh, maybe that would be a nice idea for a video, just book sounds. So, really funny, your friend asked me today, I guess yesterday, I suppose, he asked me who was my favorite anti-hero that I could think of in any kind of media, and I had to pick Raskolnikov, and I did have to ask him to define anti-hero, because I feel like he can kind of fit a definition of an anti-hero, although maybe not some people's definition, or some people's idea of what an anti-hero is. But this is an absolutely beautiful novel. It is fantastic. It is thrilling. It is a roller coaster of emotions. Like, not just the roller coaster of the main character going through all of the torment, but you basically go through all that with him and thinking about it as you read it. It's very philosophically nutritious, I will say. I don't know what other word to use. There's probably a better word out there, but I'm a little tired, so this is absolutely amazing. Crime and Punishment is I heard Jordan Peterson say that it was probably the best, the greatest novel ever written. I don't know about that, but it is definitely a top contender. I don't want to get too much into it. I would like to discuss like all of the philosophy behind it and everything, but I can't really do that, because if I do that, I'm gonna basically explain the whole book. And if I explain the whole book, now you don't have to read it, and I want you to read it. So just know that it's very philosophically rich. That's probably the word that I was looking for. It's philosophically rich. Although today you might, I don't think you would though. I was gonna say you might consider it like, well, that's maybe just obvious, you know. In a way, I suppose you could make the case for that, but at the same time, it's a little more complex. It's a little more what's the word? I don't know, but I can explain it a little better by showing my last read of this year, Notes from a Dead House. I gotta tell you, I got some shit to talk about this one. It's like Dostoevsky said, I'm gonna grab all the boring writing I can make and then just put it into one book. Sorry. But honestly, I had a hard time getting through this one because I really did find it very slow and quite repetitive. But at the same time, it is so fascinating. Like the ideas that he is expressing, and to see his growth, and to have Crime and Punishment in my this video, I was just thinking, oh good lord, I just want to finish it. I just want to get it out of the way. I was actually gonna go to sleep like an hour ago, but I wanted to finish it to just get it out of the goddamn way. But what I was gonna say then, you can see the philosophy, some of the philosophical richness of Crime and Punishment in Notes from a Dead House. And of course you can, because the Crime and Punishment is basically a child of this era of Dostoevsky's life. I don't know if you say, if it's pronounced Dostoevsky or Dostoevsky. Most people say Dostoevsky, but maybe it's because in Spanish they call him some people in Spanish, but I'm not sure. But anyways, this one basically explains the philosophy behind some of the ideas in Crime and Punishment, but not like presenting it as an essay, because these are just notes from his time when he was in prison. So you can see where they come from, and you can see what the point of some of the philosophical richness of Crime and Punishment comes from. For instance, there's a part where he meets an inmate who has killed like 5 or 6 people. I forget. I think it was 6 people. But he also meets another inmate who is very indifferent to his amorality. And there's a point where he says that this inmate even expressed a desire to be an ass when he was out of jail, because now he had the excuse of being a convict or an ex-convict, and that he would use that to just be a mean person and a bad person. And to Dostoevsky, that's actually worse than the murderer. So he considers that guy a worse person morally than the person that killed 6 people. So he deals a lot with the fundamental reasoning behind the motives of your actions. So not just the motives of your actions or your actions themselves, but the fundamentals, the core, like what spawns those things. And he basically explores that in Crime and Punishment to a lot more depth. So if you want to read Notes from a Dead House, that's on you, bro. I'm telling you, it's maybe for you it won't be, but for me it was very slow and it was pretty boring. No hate to it though, as I already said, both hate it and love it. But I think you can get the same from just reading the novels, and the novels are more entertaining, and they actually like keep you going, egg you on, I suppose. It's the term that I was looking for. So let me get my other books that are gonna be for the short book haul. Here we go. There's some books that I bought here. Okay, first of all, yeah, we'll go through them. So first off, I saw this one, Violence by Slavoj Zizek. I find Zizek to be a very interesting character, and although I don't agree with him on everything, I do find that we are in agreement in basically the fundamentals. Like, I love using his example when he says, like when somebody's too optimistic and they're like, oh, there's a light at the end of the tunnel, and he's like, yes, and it's probably a train coming toward us. Sorry, I have to take a deep breath. But yeah, I agree with his fundamentals, so I wanted to read more from him and see more from what he's written, because I've watched him debate and I've heard him speak, but I haven't really read his books, so I want to get into that. Next up, I saw they had Les Miserables, and I do want to read it, but it's so long, and sometimes you don't know if it's worth it, So I found this one, The Last Day of a Condemned Man by Victor Miserable, right? Hold on, I have to look it up now. It is. I looked it up. I don't know why. I just randomly became doubtful. Like that's the reason I got it, so that I could like get familiarized with his writing. Although he was French, and this is a translation, so I don't know if that was a good idea. But you still get like the story and basically what he's trying to tell in that story. So that is what matters in a lot of these books. Next up we have Shirley Jackson's The Sundial or Sundial. No, it has to be Sundial. I have never seen that word, so oh well, it's late right now, very 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 late, and I I um I forgot what the word was. I reserve my right to be dumb at the late hours of the night. So I read The Haunting of Hill House, and I fell in love with it. It was absolutely amazing. It's one of my favorite novels. And when I saw Shirley Jackson, of course I was like, amazing. I need to read more from her. So that's the story behind that one. I am excited to read that one. It's probably going to be next year, though. Next up, I have Weep Not Child by, I'm not even going to try to attempt. Nope. Like, look at that. So I'm not very familiar with African literature, and I saw this one, and I was like, you know what? Maybe I should familiarize myself with African literature. I don't know how. I can't even. I mean, I guess I can take a stab at it, but it's probably the wrong time to do that because it's very late, and I'm definitely gonna butcher it. But if I have to guess, Gugi wa Diongo, Diongo, Gugi wa Diongo. I think the N has to be silent. It has to be right. But yeah, African literature, and I wanted to get familiarized with the literature from this huge continent that I actually don't know much about. I should probably look more into African history and everything. Besides the things that are already like common knowledge, like Egypt and all of those kind of things, the Congo, Nigeria, Kenya, all the things that are happening in those kinds of places. You kind of like know the like the big picture, or like the general stuff, but I don't know the specifics, much less their literature. And if you want to know a people, if you want to know a people and their culture, you look into what they wrote and what they drink. That's something that I actually believe tells you a lot about a culture. What does that culture drink? And I mean booze. I mean booze wise. Anyways, next up is The Song of Achilles, and this is one that I'm going to be reading first because my friend has it and she wants me to read it with her. It's supposed to have like amazing prose, and I hope it does. I hope it's a fun read because Notes from a Dead House, it almost just like turned me off from reading for like a month. For a minute there, I was like, you know what? Maybe I should drop books for like a while and just focus on something else. I don't know. For Honor, maybe. You guys play For Honor? I play a lot of For Honor. And I mean, well, I don't play a lot of For Honor. I have just played it a lot because I have had it since I had a PS4 before I had a PC. And then I got it for PC. And then they made the crossplay thing, and now they basically moved all of my old stuff from my account on PlayStation down to my Steam. So now I have everything all together. So I have the hours that I have been playing in my PS4, plus the hours that I have played in my PC, and it makes it look like I have no life. But listen, I don't really play that much. says the guy that basically spent all day yesterday playing. My brother was also has it, so we were playing yesterday for a while. It gets pretty fun. It gets pretty fun. Also very frustrating. Anyways, this is a book video, not a video game video. Next up, we have Anna Karenina by Leo Tolstoy, and this one is a thick boy. I am hoping that this one is going to be a fantastic read. I hope it's one of those like Crime and Punishment. I did not want it to end. I wanted to keep reading, and I wanted to keep learning more and seeing more of Raskolnikov and what happens with him. And in the end, oh my god, I wish that there was a continuation of this. But alas, there's not. Or is there? Dun dun dun. Anyways, so yeah, that's my short book haul for Christmas and the December books. I hope this video was relaxing, not too crazy. I feel a little manic at the point. What the fuck am I saying? I feel a little manic at the moment. But I hope it was not too distracting and it relaxed you and helped you sleep. Well, I hope you enjoyed this last video of the year. And if you did, leave a thumbs up. If you didn't, leave a thumbs down. If you wanna debate me in the comments, let's do it. Just drop or whatever else you wanna do.